welcome to another episode of the show Profit Point, where we talk about investment, case in point, stock market analysis, and talk about business on our business segment and sector segment review. All of this will come after the break. We're going to talk about the journey of a man from paid employment to being a farmer and into production. Of course, we talk about the stock market, talking about Access Bank, Zenith Bank results, and the impact of price hike, electricity price hike, and petrol increase also on these companies on the stock market. All of this will come after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. It's still the Profit Point Show, and on this segment I have with me in the studio Ambrose Omodium. Ambrose is an investment analyst from Invest Data Limited. Good morning, Ambrose.
Good morning.
And thanks for coming on board.
Thanks for having me.
Again, as usual. All right. Yesterday, Wednesday, the markets closed with top 5 gainers. We had Fidelity Bank topping the gainers chart. It gained 7.25%, followed by PZ, then Custodian. We have FCMB and John Oates. Those were the top 5 gainers. Then on the losers charts, we have Royal Exchange topping the losers chart, full 10% down. That is unusual of Royal Exchange that we usually see on the gainers chart. Then we have Livestock coming at 9.09% loss, and then CNI Leasing, USCN, and Mutual Benefit, top losers. Ambrose, looking at this, it looks like the companies on losers charts were usually the ones that we usually see on the gainers. Yes. So, is there something we need to know here, or is just basically the action of trading, demand and supply in the market?
Actually, if you look at the stocks that are on that loser chart, it's referred to what is happening in the market as we speak now.
Okay.
No, these are stocks that were up before now. When the market has rallied for like almost 2 months, they are bound to be profit taking, and we have like a inform investor that the market has already formed a double top that is likely to pull back. That's what we're seeing since Monday. Markets have been on a downtrend. But as yesterday, the stock that lost are those that are profit-taking activities on those, especially the Royal Exchange and Livestock. These are stocks that have gained for the previous week. Coming down later, the investor, I think, looking at the whole market direction is not clear. They are bound to take profit and watch the next direction of the market. For me, it's not a time for people to panic, but I see that the market is definitely to correct. Anywhere in the world, you don't see the market going an uptrend continuously. There's always a time for a little correction. And that correction also creates room for people to enter and make money in the equity market. If you see market going up for a long time, you know that the way the market will go up that long period also is going to come down. But when market pull back and also go up again, it tells that the market is carrying momentum to make a higher uptrend. Knowing that market has suffered huge loss in the month of March, we're seeing an uptrend, a recovery that has been on a stable movement. For me, it's good for our market, despite the economy is not good enough to support the market. But you can see that this disconnection shows that liquidity in the equity market while the economy is shaking.
Thank you, Ambrose. Thank you, Ambrose. All right, so over the past few weeks, we've seen increase in petroleum pump price. It's about 150 something now.
Yeah, 160.
60.
Yeah.
Interesting. Then electricity tariff is also up. Yeah. So what should we put in mind looking at this relating to companies that on the stock market that actually participating in this sector? We have Transcorp. Transcorp is into energy. Okay. And we've got MRS, Eternal Oil. This one's there in the petroleum area. So is it time to start buying this company now?
Yeah. Actually, as people are complaining, and it's not easy, because these are the 2 factors that really drive price anywhere in the world. Utility, which is electricity, and fuel. Fuel is relevant in anything we're doing in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. When the price of these things are up, it's going to reflect on the price of equity.
Everything in the
economy. every facet of the economy. And for that, there will be a change of activities, and there are some companies that are going to benefit from this increase, while some are be complaining because they're going to jack up cost of production, even cost of living. That is why I think the government, for me, I use the language, I call it a mismatch policy. If you want to increase such ways, not the two at once. No.
Maybe it's a case of just do it once and let's just get it right.
If you look at what is happening globally, some economy, government are finding ways to cushion the effect of COVID-19 to make sure that the economy find direction, find fit, and move on. But here we want to stay longer in recovery because this will probably going to dip the economy. Don't forget that in second quarter we had about a negative GDP of 1.6. With this increment now, it's going to weaken the production activities in the economy. That also slow down activities. For me, it's not too good for now. We have done it, step by step. And actually, the government have not sure that they prepared for this increment. We have to prepare. We have to make plans to cushion the effect of the food. We are injecting funds for the effect of COVID-19. Then we are not making this increase. Then how are you going to another palliative to coming from this increase? It's like for me, they're going to chew. They are biting more than they can chew. Let me use that language because you really want to say, the money you have, we're injecting like 3.3 trillion to the economy to cushion the effect of COVID-19. Then you are now increasing this. We know that this one is going to affect both poor and rich. Everybody is going to get this. Then what is your next step to know? For me, I think the government should also look at it. But honestly, there's opportunity in the market for this.
I know you will see. So tell us the opportunities in the market.
Because, for example, now with increase in hike in electricity, so companies that are quoted on the exchange, they will have more money. Even though they're going to be more cost, but they have more money because if before you are not paying good, your house is not metered. Now they're going to meter your house, and then you're going to pay. That means there are going to be a lot of improvement in their sales in terms of coverage, and that will going to impact their bottom line. Automatically going to reflect on their earnings. And I said that the major factor that drive price movement in equity market is what? Your earnings, your price. Then economic activity can add about 20% of what move your price is from company performance. And this company is doing well, it's going to reflect on the price. And we'll see that, like we just mentioned, on the Nigerian stock exchange today, we'll have only just Transcorp as the major energy company that is there. Others are in petroleum, which are marketing companies. And those in marketing companies are also going to benefit from this increase, especially those are into marketing. And now from the discussion for government said they are going to depend on the movement of crude oil price to reflect on the local consumption, on the local pump price. That means if crude oil moves to 80 naira, that means Nigeria are going to pay from their nose. If it comes as low as $12, we're going to get it cheap. And those in that business of petroleum market is going to make hell of money, knowing that the product is like elastic product. People need it, whether price is up or down. People will demand for it. For me, I see opportunity in those stocks. Like, you can see that in the last 2 weeks. See the stock like what's it called? Internal Oil, Total. Look at them looking up gradually because people are seeing that there's opportunity already in this kind of company. Let me do position now. That's why I say in anything that is shaky, people are afraid of. You as an investor, as a design investor, look at where you can make money. Invest because it's your hard-earned money. You want to multiply it. Now that your cost of living has increased, you need to see where you can make more money to support your lifestyle.
Interesting perspective. Thank you, Ambrose. Okay, let's look at some earnings report that actually came. We have Access Bank. They grew their gross earning by 22.31%, but profit after tax came down marginally by 1.36%. And then dividend was still 25 kobo, same as last year. Interim dividend was the same as 25 kobo of last year. What can you say about this beautiful upline? Of course, they've been acquiring and acquiring. They just acquired Kenyan International Bank. Access Bank just loves to swallow other banks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is not shocking, saying that they grew their earnings, top earnings, but what happened to their profit after tax?
No, I would say if you look at that number, that scorecard, that is a missed number actually. Growing your top line and your down line is flat or marginally down is really not too good, but we know where the economy is and where the banks are. Banks are the ones that bear the major brunt of the economic slowdown because banks lend to the economy. If the economy is not doing well, although they have lent money to also stabilize them. For that, all these banks, if you look at their loan book for second quarter, they made a lot of about 157 billion was made as loss provision for loss of provision for loan loss. Yeah, okay. They all made that. On that note, that is going to reflect on the bank's bottom line. But the banks in Nigeria, they have shown strength and resilience in terms of keeping up to their dividends, especially stock like Access Bank paying 25 they paid last year, even though their bottom line, which is profit after tax, is flat, is good for their investors. And also, if you look at the yield for that 25% compared to the treasury bill of today, you're far better than investing in that stock for now. For me, investors should not just take opportunity, take it, and expect that these banks are swallowing all that bank, as you just said. It's actually reflecting on their bottom line. If you look at the industry, the Access Bank has the highest earnings, gross earnings growth for second quarter. It's above that of GTB, that of Zenith Bank, First Bank. Then the Access Bank is going somewhere. And when a bank is building capacity, kind of expanding, you're going to eat into another market, and that will expand your bottom line. And that is another way Access have decided to go. If you look at Access 5 years rolling plan, it tells you that they know where they are going. And for me, seeing this flat number is not enough to discourage investors for looking the way of Access, but rather you have to extend your waiting period and take advantage of this low price of 6 naira to take enter Access as a long-term investor. For me, you save value for your money because the bank is seriously expanding their capacity, which is going to reflect on their bottom line at the end of the day.
Thank you for that point. Reflect on their profit after tax. Now, as a shareholder, all I'm concerned about is what you're giving to me at the end of the year or mid-year, as the case may be, interim dividend.
Yes.
So now, last year they paid 25 kobo interim dividend. A year before they paid 25 kobo interim dividend. They swallowed their own bank last year or 2 years ago. Right. We've got another swallow in Kenya International Bank. As an investor, I'm interested in knowing at what point will I begin to see this impact on my dividend? Because that's actually what comes to me. From your own perspective as an analyst, when do you think we should begin to say, oh, we're expecting something? Because you said we should be patient, so now we're chilling.
You said,
so when should we expect something?
They swallowed the Diamond Bank. I know for you to swallow anybody, you have to spend money.
All right, so when will this food digest? That's my
point. As far as that one, the Kenyan, you need to spend money. That's why the bottom line. But for me, give them the next 2 or 3 years, you see all this thing playing out in Diamond Bank, in Access Bank, and also we expect that the economy will start recovering too. No, that also reflects more on the banking sector. For me, if you are an investor in Access Bank, don't need to panic. Just hold on. In the next nearest future, you start getting a good dividend.
No, I'm smiling.
Yeah.
Because it was on this show also that he said that stocks are no wise. You
yes.
shouldn't marry them. If you're not getting something, I'll move out of it and go elsewhere. Then you come back. So why must I wait 2 years in Access?
No, they're going to pay dividend. No, Access, they're going to pay dividend in that next board. We expect that they will grow their dividend when things start, improve. No, they're going to pay you high. But for now, like we said, they paid in 2017, 2018, 25 kobo, 2019, 25 kobo, 2020, 25 kobo for interim dividend. At the end of the final year, we don't know what they're going to pay. If you're an investor, you are getting dividend yearly from your investment. It's good. For me, for them to grow their dividend is what is important to you as an investor, to grow their dividend. And it's when they are doing where this investment starts yielding money, because they are investing by acquiring all these banks, they cannot grow their output. When you grow their dividend payout, it's going to reflect on your...
Okay.
On your
we'll wait. We'll wait. All right, over to Fidelity Bank Q2. Gross earnings was up by 2.03%. Fantastic profit after tax went up by 33.01%. Now, Fidelity Bank is that bank that is not interested in shouting too much, but they will just keep on bringing this result that is not disappointing. I heard now they are the one topping second-tier banks.
Yes.
Right. So what can you say about this?
If you look at the trend, if you look at the second quarter, when I analyze, when I study the numbers, that when they notice that this COVID-19 is going to impact negatively on the economy, they change their business model. That is usually that among the banks, especially the second-tier banks, their number is the best to compare to others. Even they have overtaken what's it called, the Union Bank of Nigeria that have been there for. That all these new generation banks are really going with the time, with the trend of time. Technology is assisting them. And you know that this bank is purely on trade. And people think that because they measure on trade, I know that this lockdown has affected most of businesses that is going to affect them. But they change the mode of their business model, and that has really reflected on their number, which I know for me is okay. But you know that right from time that Fidelity don't pay interim dividend, but they will do audited account for the half year, that is to give you position where they are going. For me, the numbers coming from Fidelity Bank is good enough for, especially those that are thinking long to start looking, especially those that are looking for growth stock that you know that they will pay dividend and the price will move gradually up. You can look into stock like Fidelity at this price. So I sell it below around the 1.80 kobo, having a second quarter EPS of 39 kobo. So it's going somewhere. That means at the end of the year, expect around the 70 kobo to 80 kobo full year earnings, and dividends of 20-25 kobo is likely to come, and that is good for investor in Fidelity Bank. But now you know where they are. As a second half year, here's the position of the bank. If nothing, in the next 6 months, what's going to end up? You know that by end of this month, third quarter will be up again. Then by October, after seeing third quarter result, for me, this is the right time investor should start thinking, where should I put where I build my tent, where will I put my money, and knowing that the economy itself is dragging feet, but there are some sectors that are still looking up. I said earlier, as the economy is dragging feet, it's going to reflect on the bank, but the banks have shown strength with the numbers that think that, oh, despite the economic situation, we're still moving ahead.
Interesting. Thank you, Ambrose. All right, briefly, Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank grew gross Q2 of year. Grew their gross earnings by 4.37%. Profit after tax went up 16.81%, and Zenith Bank is still the most profitable bank. So just briefly, what do you have to say? Is there anything
good? What thing is about that they maintain for 5 years they've been the most prominent in Nigeria. Not only that, they diversify in terms of technology to drive activities. They are the first bank to introduce what we call a voice teller. Voice teller. You don't need to be talking like your phone. You better be going. When I say this bank has gone ahead in terms of technology, that is that the banks know what they are doing. Their numbers remain positive and uptrend for almost 25 years. They grow their earnings on quarterly and yearly basis. To say that this bank has the future, for me, you see value in Zenith Bank. Take position and think long.
Thank you, Ambrose. I wish there was time. I'll have told you that, well, talk of technology leading, I think GTB is still is doing fantastically well in that area. But thank you, Ambrose.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to short break, and when we return, we talk about moving from paid employment to business. Case in point, Africa Farm. After the break. Stay with us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back. It's still the Profit Point Show, and this is the business segment. And we're talking about a man that actually left a well-paying paid employment to go do his own business, case in point farming, and he went into tea production. I have in the studio Mr. Usman Imana, the Managing Director, Founder, CEO of Friska Farms Limited. Good morning, sir, and thanks for coming on board.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's explain to us rather briefly the journey from paid employment to going into your own business.
Well, it's I started working in the early 20s, but right from when I was in the university, I had always had this belief that I was going to do my own thing. Okay. I only really didn't know what it was at that time. So all through the years working, I think I always had a side hustle, but for this particular enterprise that I'm in, it started in 2014. I was working at a multinational consumer electronics company, Samsung to be precise. Okay. And I had a colleague that was into farming, and he was doing very well, but people didn't really know what he was doing, and there were a lot of speculations. But I just walked straight to him and asked him, how are you doing it? And he told me, and I went ahead, got land in my village. My parents really encouraged me. The choice of what to grow at that time, moringa, was based on research. But when I was in the university, my project, because I'm a biochemistry major, was on moringa, so it was easy for me to agree on that. But I really didn't know where the business was going to go to at that time. Looking back now, I'd say that we probably started having the farm was probably maybe for ego reasons, just to be able to say that I have a farm, because that was what was cool at that time. This was 2014. But eventually, it started to grow. For some reason, we didn't stop. We continued. There were a lot of challenges along the way, got into debt, almost got depressed, lost money, and eventually, after about 5 years, it started to make sense. So in most cases, and I've seen this, read this in many biographies, when people start, in most cases, they don't know what the outcome is going to be. Most of the time, you figure out what you want to do along the way. Yeah, so
interesting perspective. So it took 5 years for you to
for it to start making sense.
I like that one.
Start making sense.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, tell us a bit about Friska Farm. So now it's established. You know what you're doing now. So your products, that's the tea.
Yeah. So Friska Farm is it's an organic farm. Based in Edo State. So when I speak to people, when people say farming, the truth is we've pivoted over the years. Like I said, when people start businesses, they usually don't have it figured all out, and you don't really have the blueprint at the beginning. Over time, you fine-tune the plans along the way. So we've moved from a farming company, we moved on to become a production company producing the tea. But now, the bulk of our efforts is in distribution. We are more of a retail organization. I mean, the farm is on auto-run, the factory runs and we make products, but we are more about selling the brand. Like I always tell people, my team and I, for us, it's more than just business. It's about building a brand that is Nigerian, but global in look. Because the truth is, Nigerians, people always complain that Nigerians don't patronize Nigerian products. And like I always say, to a large extent, it's true. But when Nigerians see that a Nigerian is doing something that they can be proud of, they would align and they would support, which is why you see that some of our, I always use this, artists that are doing very well. You see Nigerians supporting them 100%. But when you do things that are shabby, Nigerians will be the same people that will crucify you. So for us, it's more than just making money. It's more of a statement. It's about building a brand that can withstand any other brand globally. So we want people to be able to go to other countries and see our products and say that, and pick it up and say, this is a Nigerian product and this thing that we can brag about. So that's where we want to get to in terms of functionality and in terms of customer service, with all the metrics that you use to measure a global brand. That is the end point for us, and that's where we want to be at.
Okay. A lot of people leave paid job to go into business with different thoughts in the head. Some feel like they have more time for themselves now. At least it looks more like a prestige thing. So how prestigious is it being on your own?
Well, my colleagues in my previous place of work were quite close. I mean, we still interact and all. And every time they see me, they say, "My CEO, my CEO." Even my mother, "My CEO." My sisters, everybody says that. But at the end of the day, you are the one that knows how much you have in the bank account. You are the one that knows how you are going to balance the account, pay your staff, pay your vendors, and all that. So I used to think that there will be more time, but there's so much to do. So especially when you have plans to do big things, there will be so much to do. It's very demanding, but it is rewarding. It's more stressful, but it is rewarding. You know, my previous place of work was very, very intense, and my role was very, very, it was a what's the word I'm looking for now?
Important.
It was an, I wouldn't use, let me not use, it was a sensitive role.
Okay.
Let me use sensitive is the word I'm looking for. It was a sensitive role, and it was very demanding. So I'm out of the house by 5:30, sometimes back at 10, and you keep on grinding like that, sometimes Monday to Sunday. And I thought that, you know, going on my own would be different, but it's really not that much different, you know, because the only difference is that, you know, when you wake up at night to figure out things, you wake up out of excitement, not out of fear that, oh, I need to submit this report, I've not dealt with this and that. But what wakes you up now is excitement that, look, okay, we've hit this number of outlets, this new product that we're developing, we've gotten NAFDAC approval, or this new outlet, people are, you know, this campaign that we want to run. So you are excited if it is something that you love doing. So the same stress, the same effort, or even more, but the feeling that you get from that effort differs from paid employment to being an employee. And I'm not saying that you don't have people that are in paid employment that are very, very happy and content doing what they are doing. I'm speaking for myself, comparing both lives, you know. Here, I feel more fulfilled.
Interesting. All right, let's go back to farming.
Okay.
The challenges that you've gone through, can you tell us the challenges? And I'm sure you're still going through some challenges.
Yeah,
but the ones you've overcome in the past,
so
for the sake of people that want to go into it.
So it's a work in terms of farming. I always tell people in Nigeria, agriculture in Nigeria can make you money. But if you go with the mindset that it is a get-rich-quick scheme, you will fail. A lot of people fail because there are a couple of things that make people fail in agriculture in Nigeria. One of them is they don't insufficient research. They are not properly funded. They don't have plans for what they will do with the end products. People don't understand the seasons. People don't understand that agricultural products have shelf life. So they are growing crops and saying, okay, I'm growing corn. Oh, let me not use corn. I'm doing plantain. When my plantain is ripe, I'm going to have this number of bunches. Each one is 1,500 and all that. But they fail to understand that, look, when it is time for harvest, if you have not planned, the middlemen will come and price that bunch of 1,000 for 200 because they know that after 2 weeks, the shelf life of that fresh plantain will start to ripen. And you'll be forced to sell to them cheaper, and that's the reason why a lot of people go into agriculture and they come out and tell you that, I mean, it's a lost venture. The other reason is people farm by proxy. Farming by proxy means you have a paid job in Lagos and you are farming in Abeokuta or Edo State. You are farming in the village. People in the village don't really have money. You are growing corn and rice. Somebody that has not eaten is working for you. He sees that you are in the city you are living, will help himself. So they will pay fast. So if you don't have a system in place for checks and balances and you farm in proxy, it usually ends in tears. I've seen the stories back to back. I've seen people lose hundreds of thousands. I've seen people that have lost millions based on these things. So we face those challenges. For instance, when we started farming, we planted too early. The rains didn't come. We had to replant like 3 times. We went with the assumption that, you know, it would be easy for us to get water, but the water table in Edo State is very, very high. We went with the assumption that people would just come and buy the fresh moringa leaves, but it wasn't true. We had to set up a processing factory so we would dry and blend the leaves. We did that with the mind that people would come and buy. They were buying, but the economics didn't add up because the cost of growing to that stage and the cost of selling powder at that level didn't match. So we had to now pivot to start producing. That was why we started producing tea, because we had to move down the value chain. And the thing with agriculture is that the further you go into the value chain, the more profitable. So when you add value to an agri product, the value increases and then the shelf life increases, so you're not under pressure to sell at low prices. So we got to that stage, we got the product, we got the tea, we had to do the packaging properly, we had to chase NAFDAC, started selling online, had to reposition so that people would, it was more of a solution than a product, and then we had to start thinking of how to scale. So we are at the scale phase now, we're at the scale and brand building phase, and it's another set of challenges. So at every stage in business, there's a challenge that you just have to figure out. And you just need to keep learning and unlearning things.
Okay. So the stage where you are now, what will you say is the reception of your product in the market?
So the reception has been very good, and not that I'm trying not to just openly advertise, because this is more is more about the business. But we had fantastic testimonials, and because of the kind of business that we're trying to build, we're trying to build a sustainable business. The way we market our products is different. We come from more of a thought leadership position. So we have 4 variants. We have one for blood pressure, we have one for diabetes, we have one for wellness, and we have for weight loss. So a lot of products you see in the market will tell you, oh, take this pill, take this drug, you will lose weight and all that. But I'm from a science background. There's nothing that you're going to take that will make you lose weight overnight. If you take something like that, it will most likely kill you eventually. So our system is different, for our weight loss tea, we have a program that we share with our customers. It's a combination of intermittent fasting and a bit of exercise and the tea to help you sustainably lose weight, because that's the only way that you can hold it on for that long. The same thing with our anti-diabetic tea and our blood pressure tea. We have information on our platforms, health tips that people can take that would help them live healthy, because ultimately it's the healthy lifestyle that sustains people. So that's the kind of business that we are trying to build. That's the kind of brand we are trying to build, a brand that people can trust, a brand that people would use and come back. So it's not for us, it's not buying and selling, it's a business. They are 2 different things. So I would say that to a large extent, the reception has been very, very high. People see the products, they like the fact that, it is Nigerian and it looks foreign. They like the packaging, but what keeps them coming back? So the packaging gets them to pick up the product, but what has kept people coming back, and we have a lot of customers that come back for the product, is the fact that somebody has high blood pressure and they've taken the product for a while and they see the result. Somebody's sugar level has been spiking and all, and they see the results and they come back. Somebody has used it to try to lose weight, and they see that they've stopped bloating and they are losing weight. So that's what keeps them coming back. Good packaging will get people to pick up your product, but the fact that the claims that you make on the product, that people can actually get those results, will keep them coming back. That's where we want to be at.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so you guys are just 6 years old. Well, you're still a child.
Yes, we're still babies.
What plans do you have, say, for the next 5 years? What should we expect from your firm?
So in the next 5 years, currently now, we are in 900 outlets across Nigeria. We are in 12 states. So for this year, for instance, our target was to get into 1,000 in 20 states. We also had a target to get into 5 countries. Right now, we are about entering Namibia. We have 57 outlets that have shown interest in Namibia. We've not been able to do that because of COVID. But we want to dominate Africa in terms of brand and reach. We are also on Amazon, so people can go on Amazon.com, Amazon in the US, and they can order and they can get the product. So for us, in the next 5 years, we want to just go from, we want to venture into pharma to have drugs. We have a new product that is in NAFDAC. I'm holding myself so not to say anything, but it's another line of products. I mean, we've done our NAFDAC inspection and we're expecting approval to go live. Hopefully by September we'll do that. So we want to have a range of products, but the golden thread that would tie all our products is that, one, they are natural, they are organic, they solve a problem, and they are affordable. And beyond making money, like I always say, we want to build a sustainable business. For the new product that we are working on now, what we've done is We've gone to Borno State. We got 100 hectares of land. We spoke to one of the commissioners, the Commissioner for Women Affairs. She gave us 100 women from the IDPs. We trained them on how to grow some of the grains that we'll be using for that product. And they currently are farming for us, so we buy from them. So it's not just, and that's the kind of business that we want to build. It's not just about take. It's about building value, because it is the same stakeholders that will buy your products. And if they don't love, there has to be an emotional connection, because we can't be the only company that will be in this space.
Definitely.
We are not the only company, and we can never be the only company that will be here. Other entrants are going to come. There will be disruptors. But what will keep the customer coming is the emotional connection that you've built with them. And it goes beyond just the product. It's about how they feel when they think about you as a brand. What have you done? How have you touched their lives? So which is why we are building that model. The other thing that we've done that we want to be doing to be seen as is an organization that is deliberate about solving problems in the society. So for World Charity Day, we partnered with Paddock Nigeria, and we are saying that we're on our social media platform. We've put aside 150 packs of our products. When people buy and use a particular code, the proceeds from that sale, we are using it to sink a borehole in a community in Gwarimpa. And this is a Paddock Nigeria, Paddock Africa project. Paddock Africa does sanitary towels for girls in underserved communities. So those are the kind of things that we want to chase actively, so that because that's the kind of company that we want to be. That's the space that we want to be. That's it's in our DNA.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting story. Okay, you said that as an entrepreneur, sometimes you're depressed. I'm sure a lot of us get depressed, even people collecting salary.
Yeah.
But let's focus on people that actually have businesses. I'm sure a lot of people start businesses and they just 1, 2, 3 years, they feel that it's not working and they just backed out. So you stayed for 5 years before it started making sense, like you said. Those times that you feel so down, so unhappy, so like, what am I doing here? What is it that you do or say to yourself or read or watch that actually bring you back to life, that pushes you to go on?
Okay, so I wouldn't have been in this business if not for my dad. So the farm is in the village. My dad had always wanted his kids to come and do something in his village. So the moment I made the comment, he did all the legwork. Before I could even think of what I wanted to do, the farm was already there. So when I started, he kept on encouraging me. In 2015, there was a time I was having issues with one of the farm workers. One of them ran away with the bike. I wanted to fire him, but because it's from the village, I wanted to take him to the police station. You know how I can't fight your community. You can't take your kinsman to the police and all that. So I was frustrated. I was furious. I was on the phone with my mother, and we were arguing. My dad is a retired military person, so all my life I've known him to be harsh. So when he collected the phone from my mom, I expected that he was going to fight me and say, "What's wrong with you? Listen to your mother." But he was calm. He said, "Young man, take it easy." I said, "No, look at it." He said, "Just take it easy. Just be patient. Continue doing this. When this thing is going to be successful, I will not be here. It will be successful. You just need to be patient and you just need to keep on this." He said, "When this thing is going to be successful, I will not be here." He said it 3 times. That was the last conversation I had with him. 2 weeks later, he passed away. I had to come back. This was November 2015. We came to the village. We did the burial and everything. But that conversation keeps going on in my mind. So after 2015, 2016 was horrible. I was so in debt that I couldn't even change my profile on social media without somebody asking me for their money. So it was so bad. But that, when it is successful, I will not be here, kept me going. And then I have a very supportive family, supportive wife first, then supportive family, because I'm going to go back to her today.
You don't want to lock out of the house.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, no problem.
So those are the things that keep you going. You just need to have staying power. And entrepreneurship is about staying power.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Usman Imana. It's been an interesting story. And please, I will be here when you become successful anyway. Amen. But I'm watching out for you. I'm watching out for you. Thanks for coming on the show. All right.
Thank you.
All right, the next segment is a sectorial segment where we talk about baking business. How do you get into baking business? What do you need to know? And how much do you really need? After the break, we talk about that. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's still a Profit Point Show, and this is a sector segment where we talk about different sector. What we're looking at today is the food sector, case in point, baking. And I have in the studio Mrs. Adishola Adishino. Good morning, madam. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, good morning.
I thought I was going to see cake here or bread or something, you know, but no problem, another time. So let's begin with talking about the different areas of baking business.
Okay. Actually, baking business has been a very good business, and that's been really keep a lot of youths going. And when we talk about the baking business, we'll be talking about the aspects that involves the cake making, and we'll talk about the pastries.
Okay.
So under the cake making, we will have it in two forms. The first one is the oil-based cake, while the other one is the butter-based cake. I think the very common one that everybody are very conversant with is the butter-based stuff. Like where we make use of our margarine, like Topper, Valido, Golden Gate, what have you, to bake your cake. While the other one that is the oil-based one will make use of the non-cholesterol oil. Okay. So that's when you kind of, some bakers will be telling you, or some clients will say, the cake I had yesterday and the one that was given to me was so fluffy, and because you know it's made of oil, it's not as that one of butter that will be very thick.
Oh, okay.
So and when we talk about the dessert cake, it's also made of the oil base of the oil-based cake.
Okay. Now, which one do you do?
I do both.
So you're basically into cake?
Yeah,
Just
I'm into, no, not only into cake, I'm into cake making, event decorator, and a caterer.
Okay. But in terms of cake, that's the area that you're focused on?
Yes.
Cake, okay. So if I, for instance, I want to go into baking business, what do I need? Do I need to do training? How long do I need to train? How much do I need in terms of money? Then location. What do I need to establish myself as a baker?
Okay. I am actually is not that much, but the first thing is whoever that is going to baking industry has to be a learned person, because everything will be written in English, not our Yoruba language of a thing.
Okay.
So for someone that is not a learned, is totally out of the business. Then other things you just need is the facility, then maybe capital, then you need to go for training first and foremost. First and foremost, you go for training, probably a catering institute, and we have a lot of bakers along the side road, shops and everywhere. So you can go there, start your training, and probably it now depends on the area you want to specialize on. Okay. If you are going into the full catering, you know, there's some situation whereby you have 3-month training. I just want to be a baker. 3 months is okay. But let's assume you want to go into catering in full. Definitely, we are talking about a 2 years course. So then having done that, then you get yourself established, of which what you need are infrastructures like oven for the baking. You need a very conducive environment, a very big table for rolling. You need all these baking tray, baking tools, molds, and what have you. So you are good to go.
Okay. So in terms of money, if I have like 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 500,000. Okay. So in terms of money, how much do you think I need at the minimum to actually start baking business?
Oh, actually, it depends on the kind of equipment you are using. Take for instance, if I'm to use a coal oven, I don't really need much to get the oven. How to just go is go to it to cool there. We have all these things that built oven. So with 10,000 naira, you have your oven, your coal oven. But let's talk about, I want to get a gas oven. The one that will use gas definitely is quite expensive, probably 50,000, 100,000, thereabouts. At least now to start with, let's say with 150, 200,000, you start from somewhere.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't need so much money then. Or in terms of registration, baking is food. Do you have to register with any organization? Does NAFDAC, for instance, have to approve or not? Or you just need to open it, no regulation, no association for you to join? Or are there?
Actually, we have association for you to establish one, you know, as a student. You know, first of all, I said you go for training first.
Yeah, sure.
Then having done that, definitely you have a certificate. in the kind of association, like in Abeokuta now, we have be proud of your cake in Ogun State here, Ogun State chapter in Abeokuta. Definitely you will be known in the system. I've have some students that have graduated, they want to start the business, they want to, do you get it? So that's that. Then after that, we have to do the normal protocol, which is the CAC registration. You have to register with the government. So registering with the government, it has a lot of benefits. For instance, if you want to give me a contract from your office here, you ask me of a current account, which has to be in my business name. It has to be in the company name. So you have to register with the government. Then likewise, you have to register with the association so that they won't be disturbing you and what have you.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, so I'm not a baker. How do I begin to market? Because I'm sure there are a lot of bakers outside there.
Yes.
So from your own point of view as a professional, what kind of advice will you give? If you want to market, this is how you market.
Actually, it will start small. Like, you start with your friends. If I do tell my students, if you are not good to your friends, definitely you won't be good out there. And it's out of the products that you produce to your friends. Outsiders will see, family members will see, and patronize you. So, one, I think we should start with friends, family, then you now talk about going to social media. Because for you to post any cake or anything on the social media, that means it has to be 100% perfect. So, before you do that, you start with your friends, family, neighbors, and what have you. Madam, this thing is very good. You really get it right. So, you can start with your social media advert and of the truth. If anybody should pick up your design or any of your cake on the social media, they can as well as patronize you, give you a call. Madam, I saw your cake. Like what happened last week Saturday. There was a cake I did for my mom and was posted on social media. The following day, someone called me for the same design. And, you know. Just like that. Just like that.
I hope you paid your mom something.
Yes.
All right, so how profitable is this business? Well, when we want to measure profitability, it could be dicey. Yeah. So we cannot say 20%, 30%, but can we say it's very profitable?
Then, it has been very profitable then. But now, let's say 30% profitable.
30% profitable is a lot.
Yes.
Madam, 30% profitability.
30% now. But then you're talking about 50, 60%. Yeah. Because take for instance, if you have a wedding cake and you have a wedding cake of a contract of, let's say, 100 and 150,000, and you end up spending 70, 80,000, it's a quite money. But now, for you to have a wedding cake of 100, 150,000, you are spending nothing less than 120, 130 on it.
Wow. Things have gone up.
Yes.
Especially now that people are even doing Zoom wedding. So no cakes.
No, there is cake. We have some. Just give me a very small cake, like 20K or like 10K. They are good to go. Do you get it? So just one. Instead of 3 tiers, 4 tiers, just one cake, and the wedding is good.
Interesting. Don't worry, God will bring out the good times.
Amen.
All right, let's talk about the challenges. How long have you been in the business first?
Okay, I've been in the business for the past 16 years.
Wow, 16
years.
Good. 16 years. What are the different kind of challenges you've actually experienced in terms of staffing, products, customers, all facets? What are challenges you've gone through? For the sake of those coming, so they won't make the same mistake, or they'll be able to, they should expect this kind of challenge when they get into the business.
Yeah. When we talk about the challenging, wow, the business is quite challenging. One, let's talk about the customers first. The customers are number one challenge. We need to have patience with our customers so that we can keep them going. The thing is, at times when you were given a contract, probably a wedding cake or a birthday cake, some clients were like, I want you to deliver to my doorstep. Some were like, I'll come and pick it up. If they come to pick it up at your office, it's very good. And they really make the work so easy and stressless for you. For you taking it to their venue or probably their house or their residence, if you don't have a vehicle and you're like, let me hire the taxi, to deliver the cake or something. The taxi man won't have enough patience while driving. You know, they were like, let me drop you, and you know, they want to make their money, of which they are in the business, so they want to make their money. But as a person, you have your own personal car and you want to deliver it, make the work so easier. And you know, take for instance, you hired a taxi, and before you get there, probably the road to the where you're going is not that good, and the cake got cracked. So what do you expect? The customers were like, I'm sure they won't pay the balance. Very sure. The customers won't pay because, like, this was not what I showed you. But how many people do you want to explain to that it's because of the road or due to the weather of a thing that makes the cake something like that? And that is one. And number two is, another one is the weather condition is another quite challenging stuff. Take for instance, if you are making a fondant cake and it's in a rainy period, there is 70% assurance that that cake will melt. The fondant, it will be sweaty. Most especially when you are adding color to the cake. Let's assume you are giving a very plain cake, like a white background design. That was very good. But the moment you added color and it started raining, automatically the cake will be melting or sweating. Before you take it to the venue, it's rubbish.
Wow. Okay.
So, and another quite challenging one is the economy. Let's talk about the economy too. It's quite challenging because if the rates in which things are, the price of things, the price of commodity are getting higher and higher. For instance, before the lockdown, I collected a cake from a client of 120,000, and during the lockdown, the wedding is supposed to commence around April.
Okay.
During the lockdown, so they were like, we're not doing it again, and what have you. So they now shifted the wedding. The mama came and said, it's only one that I even want. I don't want the rest again. I want you to refund the money.
The money that I've entered where?
You know, so we face so many challenges, but despite that, we shouldn't let this challenge to weigh us down. We just have to keep going, you know. Once you have the challenge, you just face it. What is the way out? How can I make it then? Once you get your way out, then you just have to keep going.
All right. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And that's Madam Additional Baker, the person in baking business. So for those interested in going into baking business, she's giving you a lot of information there. This brings us to the end of the show, Profit Point. The show returns same time next week, Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Same station, of course. And please stay safe, wear your face mask, and still stay distant from people. Coronavirus is real. Wear your face mask and wash your hands with water and use hand sanitizer. Till next week then, enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Yes, ma'am.
Morning, sir. To you. Morning, sir. I'm here with the document.